Paparazzi king Rino Barilari is attacked with ice cream by actress Sonia Romanoff for an unflattering photo in Rome, 1966. The nuclear-powered bullet train from the 1970s series Supertrain Cossack wedding in the village of Medvedovskaya, Kuban, Russian Empire, 1909. Alan Rickman in Kunio Shimizu's Tango at the End of Winter, adapted by Peter Barnes, directed by Yukio Ninagawa, Piccadilly Theatre, London, 1991. Maori Man from Hawke's Bay District, 1810. A group of local Sami people in Nesseby, in the Arctic region of Norway, 1860s. Robotics hand with model, 1948. General Electric's mechanical hands, which were on display at the 1948 Golden Jubilee Exposition at Grand Central Palace in New York City. A member of the Luftwaffe in front of military barracks in Schleswig-Holstein, Germany, 1938. The automobile's body seems similar to Mercedes-Benz W125 Rekordwagen. A United States soldier inspecting piles of looted art and goods being stored in a Bavarian church at the end of World War II, 1945. Vintage lesbian couple kissing late 19th century. Judges at work at a rabbit show in Amsterdam, 1957. Babe Ruth attends the open casket funeral of Lou Gehrig, June 4, 1941. Zulu warriors with shields and spears pose near a large hut, circa 1900. NASA officials and flight controllers celebrate the successful conclusion of the mission, 1969. Vintage bathing dresses. Marlene Dietrich changing from standard army boots into her famous sequined gown and high heels on her bunk bed during her USO tour, entertaining American soldiers fighting the Nazi regime, 1944. World War I, the use of flamethrower. George Foreman vs. 5, 1975. Students and police facing each other in a Paris street during the student riots, 1968. Fitness, figure, and trainers. Tanya Knight and Marjo Selin train in a gym in Finland for the Miss Olympia, 1985. Carrots on a Stick, 1941. Resettled Farm Child, New Mexico, 1935. "19-year-old Sofia Vergara on her wedding day with Joe Gonzalez in Barranquilla, Colombia, 1991. A Palestinian woman sitting with a straw basket in her hand, wearing a Palestinian dress, and a traditional shutwa headdress for the Ramallah area, 1930. Teaching Children to Plant Those, Jefferson Park, New York City, c. 1910. A family of 13 rides the New York City subway. Austrian strongwoman Katie Sandwina, also known as Katharina Brumbach, 1884 to 1952 and 1934, last stretch of her career. The Dowager Empress Cixie's funeral, China, 1909. Woodstock, 1969, men building a tent. A group of pioneers delivers gifts to a wounded soldier in a hospital, USSR, 1942. Professor Christie at the wheel of his giant unicycle, Ohio, 1920. Japanese paratroopers during a landing over Palembang Airfield in 1942. Barefoot and soaked, street play was the ultimate summer escape in Spanish Harlem during the 1940s. Float in Women's Suffrage Parade held in Washington, D.C., March 3, 1913. Armed Republican militiawomen in Madrid at the beginning of the Spanish Civil War, 1936. Dorothy Dandridge rubbing her sore feet during a rehearsal in London. December 19, 1972, Apollo 17 astronauts Eugene A. Cernan, left, Ronald E. Evans, and Harrison H. Jack Schmitt in the life raft. The Apollo 17 command module. America is seen in the back. Boris Karloff, enjoying a cup of tea on the set of Frankenstein, 1935. Christmas Mail, c. 1910. Members of the American youth subculture, generally termed hippies, walk along roads choked with traffic on the way to the large rock concert called Woodstock, Bethel, New York, August 1969. Theodore Roosevelt, circa 1885. A researcher at the Museum of Man's Anthropology Laboratory transports a Peruvian mummy, 1943. Coal miners, c. 1910. Two workers walk along the rafters of the Freemasons Hospital building in Ravenscourt Park, London, April 13, 1932. By the late 1800s, many Victorian women often grew their hair long. Victorian woman, 1890s. British soldier observing Argentinian helmets after the Battle of Goose Green on the Falkland Islands, May 1982. (1964) Lambretta amphibious scooter. Legendary Soviet rock star Viktor Tsoi of Kino working his day job as a stoker in a Leningrad boiler room required by law to avoid being prosecuted for parasitism, 1986. Bruce Lee with his family, January 1966. John and Yoko pedaling around Greenwich Village, 1972. Licking blocks of ice on hot days, c. 1910. Algerian girls with traditional dresses from the east of Algeria, Annaba. The Eiffel Tower in 1925 with the illuminated publicity sign imagined by André Citroën, spreading his name vertically in enormous letters. Members of Les Apaches, the street gang who terrorized Paris during the Belle Époque, c. early 1900s. The press named them after Native American Apache warriors, and the nickname stuck. In 1917, during the First World War, the first workers' strike in Brazil took place in São Paulo. A crowd gathered in Sheep Meadow to watch the moon landing, 1969. Flood in East End of Cincinnati, 1913. Casual Company, 1910s. Henson and 4 Inuit, members of the North Pole Expedition, 1909. Glaswegian civilians passed bombed tenement houses in 1941. 35,000 people were rendered homeless. A woman pushes a pram laden with suitcases. Greece in New York City, 4th of July Parade, 1911. Bat Roost in San Antonio, Texas, with a sign, "A home for bats and belongs to the city of San Antonio." Bats are one of man's best friends because they eat mosquitoes, and mosquitoes cause chills, fevers, and other diseases. March of German prisoners through Moscow, 1944. Russian girl in national costume, 19th century, Ryazan province. Filming of the legendary Star Wars. Jeremy Renner. The mascot of Ascot, Mrs. Gertrude Schilling at Ascot, 1970s. Supporters of President Yeltsin rolling a large barricade near the Russian White House following an attempted coup by Soviet hardliners, 1991. Children learn how to properly blow their nose at Hester. How Vacation School, Toronto, Canada, 1913. Harlan Sanders, also known as Colonel Sanders of KFC fame, visiting a Wendy's restaurant in Columbus, Ohio. Early 1970s. Communist KPD election propaganda on a Berlin rooftop, 1930. Colonel K.V. Melnikov conducts observation through a stereoscopic telescope in 1944. Tambourine vendor, Naples, Italy, early 1900s. September 1934. Mrs. C. Wilde's behind the wheel with her pet pig at Turling in Essex. An Arab woman wearing a traditional face mask in Muscat, Oman, 1905. National Socialist German Workers. Party office location in Hamm, Germany, circa 1926. Sand sculptures of Chancellor Adolf Hitler and President Paul von Hindenburg on a beach in Germany in 1933. Imperial Chapel's Altar Boys, Paris, 1860. Henri-Joseph Cot. Born in the south of France in 1883, he lived for 23 years, according to other sources, 29 years. Tupac and Mike Tyson in 1996. Group photo, balancing act. French social workers interact with Vietnamese children in rural Tonkin province during the counterinsurgency campaign in Indochina, May 1951. Miner's cabin built of barrels at Tonopah, Nevada, Sierra, 1906. Titanic sailing, Southampton, 1912. Salvador Dalí, 1955. Stripper at the Samoa Club, New York, 1950. Mersey Tunnel opening, Liverpool, July 1934. Al Capone with his son, Sonny Capone, in 1925. A young girl of the Crow tribe with her pet, Montana, 1910. Shinto priests in the garden of the Meiji Shrine, Tokyo, 1951. Photograph by Werner Bischoff. Ladies having a laugh wearing men's uniforms in Germany, circa 1933. National Bolshevik woman standing in front of the Home Front to Front Memorial in Magnitogorsk, Russia, 1995. Former American President Herbert Hoover, 1874-1964, with his Chinese teacher during his 18-month stay in China developing gold mines. C. 1, 1901, Tianjin. Male aerosleds in the Koryak tundra, 1966. Guns firing during the night battle of Iwo Jima, Japan, 1945. Gary Lineker et al. With Giant Boot, 1983. Gary Lineker was the top goal scorer in Division II in 1983, posing alongside Steve Kamick of Scunthorpe United and Kerry Dixon of Reading. Singer Eddie Fisher and actress Debbie Reynolds lounge at their Pacific Palisades home, circa 1955. Edwina Booth drying her hair in the late 1920s. Young girl's first communion portrait in 1940s Hungary. Dancing in the Snow, 1916. Claudia Schiffer visits an antique shop during her visit to Russia, 1992. March on Washington. March leaders in a row with signs behind them, August 28, 1963. Vintage 1943 First Communion portrait of a girl in Hungary. Angelina Jolie rare bikini photo shoot by Harry Langdon in 1991. Clearing snow in New York City after a heavy snowfall on January 29, 1943. Getting tips on art of feeding at West Valley Hospital. Nurse Eleanor Moore acts as instructor while Mrs. Robert Howell looks on. L.A., 1965. A platform with gasworks workers wearing animal masks, Netherlands, 1926. Olo F. Krauer was an Icelandic lecturer and sideshow performer who was born with a form of dwarfism. Gregory Peck, 1950s. Afghan anti-communist dissidents in a Soviet prison camp in the outskirts of Kabul, 1980. Test launch of a Hurricane from a CAM, catapult-armed merchant, ship at Greenock with rocket assistance, circa 1941. Beauty treatment from the 1930s, fruit facial mask. The Battle of Santiago Vizcaya. After the battle. A demonstration of an underground economy-class bomb shelter that could accommodate 8 to 12 people, United States, 1958. It was claimed that this shelter could withstand the impact of a 20-megaton bomb equivalent to TNT. Criminals are made, not born. Andrew Kehoe left that message before blowing up a school in Bath, Michigan on this day in 1927. Interior of tobacco shed, Hawthorne Farm. Girls in foreground are 8, 9, and 10 years old. The 10-year-old makes 50 cents a day. Hazardville, Connecticut. 1917. The Cornu helicopter, the first helicopter to fly. Its builder, Paul Cornu, was a bicycle maker. France, 1907. A student studies in her dorm room in Vassar College, 1951. The Berberov family with lion, Soviet Baku, modern-day Azerbaijan, 1970s. Roof sleeper, 1950s. Peak 90s fashion on display. Cat reclined on its side with a blanket over him and a towel on his forehead, as if sick or drunk. A bottle of bromo seltzer, a drinking glass, and a spoon are next to him. Scene 10. Vice President Richard Nixon and his family in Disneyland, 1959. March on Washington, protesters, women carrying placards, August 28, 1963. Russian girl in national costume, 19th century, Ryazan province.